and all 1,100 kids made a speedy, safe evacuation. Getting kids out wasn't much of a problem. Teachers say they marched out of the building in less than 2 minutes, remaining calm while their school melted before their eyes. The fire was discovered on the 3rd floor. That's when teacher Debbie Hall grabbed for the alarm.
I could see, up in the ceiling where the cracks were orange that indicated that there were flames. So I pulled the fire alarm and got our 2 classes out.
We just got out of there real fast. Nobody panicked at all. I was wondering what was going on. And I was coming out.
Were you scared?
Yeah.
Authorities say the fire may have begun on top of the 69-year-old structure, where workers were using torches to put on a new roof. But an exact cause has yet to be determined. Early estimates put damages at more than $2 million, displacing 1,085 students and 54 teachers.
We're just going to have to get with the powers that be and decide what is available for us and try to get something worked out where we can get these students back in school.
Firemen stayed on the scene for most of the afternoon as thick smoke hampered efforts to douse the flames, casting a haze over this Carter County town, giving these kids a school day they will never forget. In Grayson, Kentucky, I'm Tom Shad, TV 13, Action News.
Classes.
This school day went up in smoke for 1,100 students. All got out of Prichard Elementary safely because of practiced fire drills. Many didn't even know there was a fire.
I thought somebody smoked a cigarette or something.
The blaze shot through the 3rd floor ceiling about 11 a.m. The principal says students were evacuated in 1 minute. He says the roof of the building was being repaired when the fire broke out.
Whether there was a connection between the two, I'm not positive. It seems a likely coincidence, but I'm not sure.
A state fire marshal will be called in to investigate. Meanwhile, no classes here until further notice.
The schools are overcrowded to start with in the high school and the elementary, so it will be difficult to find the police force.
Fighters from 7 area departments fought the blaze. Last-minute efforts were made to save school materials. Building is a total loss. The problem for school officials now is where will they hold classes the rest of this year? Kathy Brown, WSA News TV.
Now, school officials are calling a public meeting tomorrow night to talk about this crucial situation. The meeting will be at the East Carter High School gym at 7 o'clock.
Minute. The problem now is what to do with the students for the rest of the school year. Already, county schools are overcrowded.
It will be difficult to find a place for them.
The irony in this fire is that independent contractors were trying to repair the roof to make conditions here a little better. Officials believe that's how the fire started. A state fire marshal has been called in to investigate. No classes for those who went to school here will be held until further notice. Kathy Brown, WSAZ News Center 3, Grayson, Kentucky.
And 85 students and 54 teachers.
We're just going to have to get with the powers that be and decide what is available for us and try to get something worked out where we can get these students back in school.
Firemen stayed on the scene for most of the afternoon as thick smoke hampered efforts to douse the flames, casting a haze over this Carter County town, giving these kids a school day they will never forget. In Grayson, Kentucky, I'm Tom Shad, TV 13, Action News.
Community, and it is now time to put back what the flames took away. Bob?
A lot more than just a school building was lost when Prichard Elementary went up in flames this past Monday. Collins reports students could be back in class as early as next Monday, thanks to an entire state lending a hand.
Parents, teachers, and students filled the East Carter High School gymnasium, trying to get back on their feet after fire devastated their school.
And if there's ever a time when we need to be united, it is right now.
Already, there's been an overwhelming response for help, not only locally. School systems all across Kentucky have offered furniture and supplies to get the children back in school.
The recommendation from the State Department is, and I think right now the most likely thing, is they're going to partition the gym here at the East Carter High School for the rest of the year and make classrooms there to house the 5th through the 8th grade.
Governor Wallace Wilkinson attended the meeting also to sympathize with those that had lost so much.
I see a lot of sad faces tonight, but the great joy tonight is that those children are safe and no one was injured. And
A lot was lost here in Carter County when Prichard Elementary burned to the ground, but people here feel they've saved the most important part, each other, and they plan to work together to get their problems solved. Daryl Collins, WSAZ News Center 3 in Carter County, Kentucky.
Of residents turned out tonight at the East Carter High School gym to see what's going to happen now that Prichard Elementary was hit by a fire. Wilkinson says the state will furnish trucks to bring in desks and supplies. The governor also says he knew it was essential to show up tonight.
it's largely, we've got to be there at this critical time so that people understand that Frankfurt cares and that we're going to expedite the process of getting your children, our children, back in school as promptly and as safely as absolutely possible.
Supplies from the state should begin arriving tomorrow. The superintendent says hopefully by Monday, 5th through 8th graders will go to their temporary school in the gym they were meeting in tonight at East Carter High. 1st through 4th graders will stay at Prichard since their particular section of building didn't burn.
Students and parents that the state would help the community rebuild a 70-year-old school. It caught fire Monday morning, and investigators still aren't sure what caused it. But the concern now is finding alternate classrooms for the students. One probable solution is setting up school in the high school gymnasium.
I think that this is a wise recommendation, and the reasoning for that is we can keep all of those students together, and we do have the proper facilities, restroom facilities, which we maybe wouldn't have in some of the other facilities that have been offered to us.
Classes are expected to resume on Monday in the school gymnasium. Meanwhile,
Elementary School. As Daryl Collins reports, classes may resume Monday in makeshift classrooms.
And students filled the East Carter High School gymnasium, trying to get back on their feet after fire devastated their school.
And if there's ever a time when we need to be united, it is right now.
Already there's been an overwhelming response for help, not only locally. School systems all across Kentucky have offered furniture and supplies to get the children back in school.
The recommendation from the State Department is, and I think right now the most likely thing, is they're going to partition the gym here at the East Carter High School for the rest of the year and make classrooms there to house the 5th through the 8th grade.
Governor Wallace Wilkinson attended the meeting also to sympathize with those that had lost so much.
I see a lot of sad faces tonight, but the great joy tonight is that those children are safe and no one was injured. And
A lot was lost here in Carter County when Prichard Elementary burned to the ground, but people here feel they've saved the most important part, each other, and they plan to work together to get their problems solved. Daryl Collins, WSAZ News Center 3 in Carter County, Kentucky.
Prichard High School building. Thanks to the swift action of teachers and administration, all students were evacuated quickly and safely. Then, with the help of Grayson and all the county fire departments, along with the Ashland Fire Department, the fire was put out and confined to the upper floor and roof area of the Prichard School. The building, however, with water damage, has been rendered useless. We take a look at some of the devastation at Prichard School and talk with Principal Roger McGlone. McGlone, of course, is principal at Prichard Elementary School. Roger, as we look at the pictures of the outside of the devastated building, tell us a little bit about what it's like on the inside.
Well, of course, the third floor is, for the most part, completely destroyed. Most of the roof structure is completely gone, and most of the materials on that floor are gone. The floor is still solid, but of course it's covered with debris. And the second floor and the basement have not been fire damaged, but they all had extensive water damage. And we just don't know yet what will be salvageable out of that part of the building, but most of it has been exposed to water, so I don't think there will be a whole lot that we can get out of there.
What about the gymnasium area, that area of the building?
Well, the gymnasium, there is a hole in the roof, and there's a lot of water and debris on the floor. I doubt that the gymnasium, it would be practical to try to salvage it, because it is attached to the other part of the building, and we just don't know yet how much actual damage has been done to the floor. The floor was old to begin with and had a lot of dead spots in it and weak places in it anyway, and with all this additional exposure, I suspect that it's probably beyond repair.
What about some of the personal effects of the teachers and students and so forth? What about any of those that would be taken out?
Well, we have been able to recoup a good bit of the permanent records and things like that from the second and third floor, or the second floor in the basement. Third floor, there's nothing there that as far as permanent records, or really nothing there that's salvageable. But there will be some things on the basement, in the basement and the second floor, that have either already been recouped or we'll be able to do later on after the investigative people get finished.
Now, investigation, tell us a little bit about what's going to be taking place.
Well, the State Fire Marshal's office have been here for probably the last couple of hours. They have gone over the building extensively. The arson investigator from the state police is here now, and they're going through the building. Of course, the insurance adjuster will be here, we understand, maybe sometime today, and they'll have to thoroughly inspect the contents. And of course, we'll have to wait to see what all of those folks say before we'll know when we can proceed from there and just what we'll be able to do.
What about the insurance on the building? Is there any knowledge about how that might be taken care of?
I really don't know. You know, you probably have to talk to people in the central office or the Grayson Insurance Agency. I understand has the insurance on the building, and of course they would know more about it than I would.
In the aftermath of the fire and the emergency at Prichard Elementary, Superintendent Carter County Schools Harold Holbrook asked the public to gather at East Carter Gym on Tuesday night, 7 p.m. We bring you some of the highlights of that town meeting that was also attended by the Governor of the State of Kentucky and the Superintendent of Kentucky Schools.
certainly glad to see this group here tonight. We're here to talk about a situation of tragedy that's happened in the Carter County schools in Grayson. We're here to discuss that problem and see what we can do to solve it. Before I make any more remarks, let me introduce the platform guests. We have Charles Lewis, Mayor, David Smith, Fire Chief, and City Councilman Bill Lewis. We have Ursula Dickens, Board Member, Clifford Rowe, Board Member, and another brother of Charles Lewis. We have also with us Hubert Crawford, Randall Plummer, Jack Foster, who is the Secretary of Education in the Governor's Cabinet, and Arnold Guest, who is in charge of local services. The other two people at the head table we will introduce in just a moment. All of you are aware of what happened Monday when an old tradition and a landmark and a school building that meant so much to all of us, so much to all of you parents, grandparents, and students who'd gone to school at Prichard Elementary and High School, that it caught fire and was destroyed by fire. There was people there, parents and grandparents, after their students, after their children, grandchildren, who was in dire fear of something tragically happening. And I want to say this now, that under circumstances like that, that a tremendous job, and a job that we all appreciate, was done by the administrators, the principal, and the teachers of those children. Say to you, people who had children there, if you have not called those teachers and thanked them and told them how much you appreciate it, do so. We want to thank everyone that helped in that tragic situation. The 6 fire departments, Ashland, and all the Carter County departments. They all did a job, worked hard, and whenever you see firemen going around with tears in their eyes because that building meant so much to them, you know how much it really meant to the citizenry. That night, after I'd gone to bed, I lay in bed and I thought about the times that I had gone by the Prichard School. And I would look up and think to myself, what a beautiful building, what a beautiful school that really is. And I wish that we could build it back so it would look like it did before. I know it has many memories for many of you. I know that many of you walk the halls of the classroom. I know what it meant to you. We have a situation, an emergency here, and we're going to have to deal with it. But sometimes a tragedy like this happens. It brings the community together like nothing else will. And I want to say to all of you parents, that I have never seen a more orderly transition as we did down there. Everyone was talking about no one panicking, everyone using their head and playing it cool. That within itself probably diverted the tragedy. We are going to do everything that we can to get these students back to school. And after our people have spoken that we have a special guest tonight, we're going to discuss this. We want you to have an input into what we're going to do. We are going to try to get them back in class some way, somehow, Monday morning. Let me say to you now, before I introduce our honored guest, that I have had all of the cooperation from Frankfurt that anyone could possibly hope to have. Yesterday and today, particularly the day they've been all over the state with phone calls and everything, trying to locate equipment, instructional supplies, desks, and things that we can use to put these 550 students back in school. And we're going to do that some way, somehow, by Monday morning. Let me say this, it is not just getting a facility to start Monday. It's a tremendous job to get the desk and the instructional supplies and the textbooks that's going to be required to get these people back in school. And the governor and Superintendent Brock have given us all the resources, and I would not ask for more cooperation. And we really appreciate that. At this time, I'm going to introduce Superintendent John Brock, who in turn will make a few remarks and then present the governor. And we are very honored that we would have Superintendent John Brock and the governor of Kentucky come to us at a tragic time like this.
But be assured, safety will be first. I know Superintendent Holbrook and the board will see to that. We'll assist them in every way possible from the Department of Education, and we'll see that they're safe first, and then comfortable, and then in an environment where learning can take place. So I'm going to request of you, as we will do in the Department of Education, to support your superintendent and Board of Education and the members of the staff at that school through these troubled times until we can get this year behind us. I want to share with you that you have friends across the state of Kentucky. Today, first of all, I want to thank Secretary Jack Foster. In fact, he called me this morning at 8:30, volunteering anything out of the governor's office. The governor had instructed him to call and find out how the governor's office could help. And that's unique, in my opinion, in terms of the top person in the state of Kentucky, the governor, being concerned about what's happening in an individual community like this. But at any rate, across the state, pulling for you, all eyes of the state are on you, looking for ways to help. We've already, in fact, got enough furniture to take care of the needs for Monday. We're now working on textbooks. We have a textbook order together for you. We'll get those in, and as soon as possible, we're asking other people to donate instructional supplies, and we're working with Superintendent Holbrook and his staff. And I just want you to know that people across the state of Kentucky are pulling for you, and they're out there willing to help you. And I know that you will demonstrate great effort here in Carter County in terms of helping yourself. We've had insurance consultants here in the county today helping you with that problem, helping Superintendent Holbrook. So we're doing all that we can. We want you to know that. There will be other things that will come up, and we'll be ready to come down and help you. To serve in his administration, be a part of his team, because I know he's always going to be concerned about all of Kentucky, and particularly rural Kentucky. And it's my great pleasure to present to you the governor of our Commonwealth, Wallace Wilkinson.
John Brock is going to ever had, and I've been very vocal about that because I believe it. He's demonstrated already since he's been in office, and I want to tell you, I have the great privilege of serving with him. Called me, called the governor's office, Mayor, and I've already said thank you, but I want to say it again. Just as soon as this tragedy happened, and gave a full report that there were no injuries, that the school had been successfully and promptly evacuated. The children were out, they were safe, gave us a report on the condition of the building. I tried, Mayor, after that call to imagine. I'm from Casey County, as most of you know, and tried to imagine what would happen, how we would feel in Casey County if our school burned. And in thinking through that, I did imagine how we'd feel. And I told Superintendent Brock on the way up here tonight, I said, our coming tonight is largely symbolic because there isn't a lot we can do immediately to restore your school, but we've got to be there at this critical time so that people understand that Frankfurt cares and that we're going to expedite the process of getting your children, our children, back in school as promptly and as safely as absolutely possible. So I have told everyone, Secretary Foster, Superintendent Brock, Superintendent Holbrook, the Mayor, and all the others, whatever it is that you imagine that we can do to aid this process, let us know and we stand ready to do it. Because you have experienced a great tragedy. And I guess the consolation that we can take is that all the children were safe. And we can replace bricks and mortar, even though some memories may have gone up in flames. We can replace bricks and mortar. So the great consolation is, the great happiness here is, I see a lot of sad faces tonight, but the great joy tonight is that those children are safe and no one was injured. And the thing and we have our memories, and having those, we can replace the school with a better one than we had. So we're fortunate in that respect, and there is something to be happy about. Now, on the way up here, Superintendent Block was telling me about the furniture. And John, you had a list there. There were collection points, I think. Listen to this. The people around the state that have quickly come to your aid. There's a collection point in Davis County, one in Warren County, one in Hardin County, one in Franklin, Mr. Superintendent, one in Fayette, one in Boyd. And at these collection points, I'm told they already have the furniture you need. So the children are going to miss a minimum amount of school, and they're going to do so safely. And I sat there in the office this afternoon when John Brock told me that, and I was absolutely amazed at how fast the school districts responded and set up these collection points. And can you imagine in a day and a half or less than 2 days, they've already collected the furniture you need. John Brock's working on the textbooks, except when they were called. And I'm told that the Ashland and Carter County Volunteer Fire Departments did a marvelous job here. And I have supported them for a long time because I realized in counties like ours and counties like yours how valuable volunteer fire departments are. And they apparently kept this fire from spreading to the other buildings. And they are to be commended. And Mayor Lewis, thanks for that report. That was perceptive. And the teachers, I'm told that this building was evacuated, 500 and some students, I guess, or maybe all of them were evacuated, 1,100 students, something like 90 minutes. I mean, excuse me, 90 seconds, I'm sorry. It has been a long session in Frankfurt. Something like 90 seconds, and if you just think about that for a minute, can you imagine, and this is testimony to these teachers and the administration, can you imagine getting 1,100 youngsters like that to do anything in 90 seconds? And ready to do anything we can at any time. And we'll work with your board, your superintendent, your principal, your teachers. I'll certainly work with John Brock. So whatever it is that you imagine we can do to speed the process along and make it as easy and as simple as possible, I want you to know you have my ear and my attention, and I'll this tragedy, I'll, to the extent that I can, move heaven and earth to help you. And I want you to know that.
As you know, the governor left the General Assembly in session, came here to honor you and to offer his help in any way that he possibly could.
And we all know it's dangerous to leave them there alone, right? I'm just kidding.
This event brought out the best of the people of Grayson. And at least for those few hours, it seemed as if the whole town was acting as one unit with a common goal, the safety of the children and everybody concerned. I thank the Lord that everyone managed to escape major injury in what was a very dangerous situation. One thing I do remember about attending Prichard in the 60s was the seemingly monthly fire drills we had to go through. At the time, it seemed like a nuisance, but it's been a policy and a program which has lasted all these years. There's been several principals changed hands at Prichard since then. It seems like this policy and program has stuck with them. It's been
school fire in Kentucky has ever claimed a school child as a victim, whereas this safety record holds because the school-headed efforts of such people as the principal, Roger McGlone, his faculty and staff who saw the building cleared yesterday in 90 seconds. Whereas the brave and capable firefighters from Carter County and the Ashland Fire Department are to be commended for the determined efforts in battling the fire, the worst in the Carter County history. Now therefore, be it resolved by the Senate of the General Assembly of the Commonwealth of Kentucky that the Senate extend its sympathy to the many Carter Countyans with strong attachments to the Prichard Elementary School. That the Senate commends the Prichard Elementary faculty, staff, and student body, as well as the Carter County and Ashland firefighters for all their efforts to prevent a panic of injury on this sad occasion. That resolution was passed by the General Assembly, the House of Representatives, and the Senate. Was to get you together, talk about what we are up against, this tragedy, how we can cope with it, and to listen to you if you have something to say, to give you an input in what we are going to do and what we must do. The thing that we must realize is that we are not talking about an emergency that we're dealing with just now. We are talking about that. But it isn't just something that we will have to make do until school is out this year. You know and I know that regardless of what we do, if we build a new school building back there in which we will move heaven and earth to do, it will take at least another year to do that. So we're talking about a situation that we're going to have to cope with, and that we're going to have to work together and to solve, and for the rest of this year and next year too. It was quite an effort, and we got the support that we needed from Franklin. On the textbook, we're getting those, we're getting the student desks, we're getting the school supplies. We will have hopefully everything by Monday that we need. Now, we want to say to you now that we appreciate all of the offers of facilities that we have been offered throughout the Grayson area. The churches, the banks have offered their classrooms, and we certainly appreciate that. Buildings and Grounds was up here today. Mike Lusher, who is the director of the Bureau of Buildings and Grounds, up here today checking the things and the ideas that have been thrown out to us for facilities. And you know we have situations and regulations that we have to go by even though it's an emergency. And he is recommending to us and to you, and of course the board will meet on this, the school board, that we use the East Carter Gym for these 4 grades and to put portable petitions in here to make the 20 classrooms. He said, when he checked it, he said we could make 20 classrooms in here. And to keep all of those students together, furnishing buses to bus them back to the cafeteria at Prichard for their lunch and to keep them together here because this facility provided the restroom facilities that we would need for a number of school children. One of the problems with the classrooms and the churches and so forth would be the restroom facilities. It's one thing to have church for an hour and use the facilities they have, but when you have a class of, say, 30 people for 8 hours, then it becomes a problem. We do have plenty of restroom facilities here in this gym, out in the lobby and the restrooms, the dressing rooms on the sides. So this is what they're recommending over scattering them out where we would have a problem of transportation and many other problems. We would have to make the affordable petitions in here. This is not an ideal situation. Regardless of what we do, it is not an ideal situation. That is not laid in concrete. We would be glad to listen to any suggestions, and if somebody can come up with better ideas, we are here to listen. We want you to have an input. Mr. Wooten talked a minute ago there about a long-range plan, because we have many old elementary schools in Carter County. And he asked the question, what can we do in the long-range plan? What do we do? Well, the answer to that is what the governor told you from the building commission. But the other answer is on the building commission in all districts, not just Carter County, the local effort has to come to match those funds that the state gives. Now, there isn't any question that we need the long-range plan. There isn't any question that, for instance, in Olive Hill, that the school there is as old as the Prichard School. We have many other elementary schools that are old. The same thing could happen anywhere. The same thing could happen anywhere. Maybe we wouldn't be as fortunate this time. And I keep going back to the fact that I appreciate the job that was done at the Prichard School. When you realize that the whole top floor, when it did start to burn and so forth, it simply practically exploded. It was burning before it's a good thing they got out when they did, put it like that. We owe a debt of gratitude to these people who have done such a magnificent job of doing it. I want to appoint, and I don't know if we will appoint that committee tonight, a committee to help us work on this, because I want the community involved, and I want you to offer your suggestions. I want to throw this meeting open to suggestions or anything anyone might want to say, and we will listen. Mr. Wooten, would you like to take? Would like to say anything? Brother Wooten, would you like to say anything?
I think that's ongoing. And I would like to say this, of course, you know, I deserve very little of the credit. I inherited an awful lot of Prichard Elementary School. I think that I inherited one of the finest administrators who's on the board, David Littleton, and the finest faculty, one of the finest faculties in the state of Kentucky. We have Prichard, those that have kindergartners know, what day is my child in school after we miss that? And so kindergarten teachers asked me to mention this. If your child went to school, your kindergartner went to school Monday, well, every day when we go back, he won't go that day.
A place to stay.
School life has changed a lot for some Prichard Elementary kids. Classes are now being held in this high school gym since most of their elementary school's rooms went up in smoke last Monday. Here, there are no classroom doors or windows. The walls are made of plywood, and learning quarters are a bit tight. There are now about 450 5th through 8th graders from Prichard Elementary here who have to readjust their lives for a while.
It's kind of hard because it's too noisy in here.
Except for the extra noise and a few other problems like lunchtime maneuvers, which could be a bit tricky, many here say they don't mind the change of scene. In fact, some students were pretty happy to get out of their old school.
I thought it was great the school burnt down because it was nothing but a fire hazard.
Most are now waiting for the word that a new school will be built to take the old one's place. Until that happens, 5th through 8th graders will finish up the year here, while kindergarten through 4th graders will remain on what's left of the elementary school grounds. Extra modular units will probably be added so the entire elementary school population can reunite next fall. But the hope is for a new school soon, so the students can have a better learning center and better memories. So you would hope to get a new school?
Yes, I really do. And that we can have a prom for the last year.
Kathy McAndrews, TV 13 Action News in Carter County, Kentucky.
No one was at home this afternoon when a fire in
school building. And as Alan Cohen reports, the tragedy is showing students and teachers how to stay together for the rest of the year.
Okay, our writing today is a story about the fire that we had last Monday.
The fire is still on the minds of teachers and students at Kentucky's 7th largest elementary school. Teachers were busy trying to restore order and keep students focused on their lessons.
I think they've had time to get it settled in their mind, but I think a lot of them still worry about fire.
The students are now assembled in makeshift classrooms, grades K through 4 in what rooms remain. The upper grades in the gymnasium of nearby East Carter High.
It's a bad situation. We have to make the best of it, and I think that's what we're all trying to do.
Just 1 week ago, the blaze roared through the school, forcing the 1,000 students to evacuate in about 90 seconds. The entire main section of the 69-year-old building was gutted. Staff and students here all seem to agree that the fire had a tremendous impact. And now, according to teachers, the hardest part is teaching the kids how to cope.
We know that it's going to be hard the rest of the year, so we have to take things as they come.
School officials want to rebuild a new school on this site, but that could take at least a year. For now, the students will make do with the temporary setup. Meanwhile, officials still don't know what caused the fire. Alan Cohen, WCHS-TV, News 8 in Grayson, Kentucky.
Union Carbide
bus to the old cafeteria and then bus back here for afternoon classes.
I don't like it.
Why not?
I'd rather be down at Prichard. The desk. I don't like the desk.
Not very familiar?
No.
But when asked about their quick move into high school...
Right. Yeah. I like it.
Young people have a lot better way, I think, of adapting, probably than us older folk. And as you can see here this morning, they...
Maurice Chevalier put-downs.
Yeah. You couldn't just say, who wants to grab some...
Settle right down to the task, so I think it's going to work out pretty good.
Students will exercise, and with a weekend donation of $500,000 by businessman Larry Addington, school finances will be strong enough to match the effort. Rob Johnson, WSAZ News Center 3, Grayson.
Construction begins. Mobile units at a cost of $172,000 have been moved in to replace the building that burned down in March of this year.
I don't guess it puts behind us the fire, but at least we know that we're providing for the facilities for them for this coming year, and we are working immediately on reconstructing the Prichard School. So I guess we can say it's a thing of the past. We're going to look at the future.
Holbrook says it'll be close, but he says the 20 units should be ready for the youngsters on time. I'm about to wave